At the start of the episode, Taylor prepares to go into the jungle on his own for a 24-hour quest. As Taylor starts his motorbike, he tells Jim to stay alert as the Sixers spy is still on the loose, because Lieutenant Alicia is away on another mission. Taylor leaves Jim in charge of the colony as temporary commander. Next, Taylor explores the area around the waterfall and finds more of Luca's equations inscribed in the rocks. Suddenly, Mira appears from behind, pointing a rifle at him. She reveals that Lucas is getting closer every day to creating a two-way time portal between 2149 and Terra Nova. She then ties up Taylor's hands behind his back. At the colony, Jim is informed about a flashing light that another soldier has noticed, coming from the jungle. Jim deduces that the light must be the way Sixers communicate with the spy inside the colony. When they notice another flashing light coming from within the colony, they begin searching for the source of the signals. Following the signal, Jim and Mark arrive at an unfinished housing development, but they don't find anyone. Just then, Skye is seen hiding from them, holding her bleeding palm. Meanwhile, Jim notices a small drop of blood floating on the surface of a glass. In the woods, Mira decides to take Taylor to her camp. During their travel, Mira tells him that the people who hired her want Lucas to create the portal so that they can take Terra Nova's resources to 2149. She must take care of Taylor. In return, she would be rewarded. Without Mira's notice, Taylor picks up a sharp thorn that he can use to slowly cut the ropes around his hands. In the lab, Skye sneaks in and retrieves a medical spray and secretly heals her wounded palm. Jim then walks into the lab with the blood sample, hoping that Elizabeth can get DNA from it to reveal the identity of the spy. Mira continues leading Taylor towards her camp, explaining that she is doing it all for her daughter, Sienna, so that she can have a better life in 2149. By now, Taylor has managed to cut off his ropes, and with a small struggle, he gains control of Mira. As Taylor now begins to lead Mira to her rover so that they can go back to the colony, a slasher is seen, silently watching them from the cover of a bush. Without any communication device to talk with the Sixers, Skye joins Josh for some digging out in the jungle, hoping to sneak away to the Sixers camp in the process. In the medical sector, Elizabeth requests Malcolm to look into the blood sample and try to extract DNA from it. Meanwhile, Skye and Josh arrive at the worksite, and Skye mentions that she is going to go check in with the foreman since she had tagged along. Instead, she sneaks off and meets up with the Sixers at their vehicle. They arrive at the camp, and Skye is taken to a hut where a woman is seen lying on a bed. It is revealed that the woman is Skye's mother, who is suffering from syncytial fever, the same illness which she supposedly had already died from. Skye brings the intel of Terra Nova to the Sixers, and in return, her mother gets treated for her condition. Skye hands over the latest data to one of the Sixers and has a quick visit with her ailing mother before returning to the colony. Back at the lab, Elizabeth tells Jim that getting DNA results from the sample will take overnight to complete while putting the sample on a small dish. When Skye reports for her evening internship shift at the med sector, she learns that she accidentally left behind a drop of blood at the signal site, and that it's being analyzed. Later that night, she returns and destroys the blood sample, hoping to eliminate any chance of being outed as the Sixers spy. Back in the jungle, Taylor and Mira are followed by the carnivorous dinosaurs. They are forced to jump off a waterfall. After they surface, they realize they're in trouble because the rifles have sunk to the bottom of the water and can't be retrieved despite numerous tries by Taylor. Since they know they won't be able to make it to Terra Nova or Mira's vehicle by then, they decide to stay where they are and make a stand together, fighting the slashers and not each other. Meanwhile, Jim and Elizabeth discover that the blood sample has been destroyed. However, Elizabeth deduces that it could narrow down the list of possible spies since the person who destroyed the sample has access to the lab. Based on this knowledge, they can create a list of 84 people who fit the criteria, with some disagreements over who has the most and best jungle experience. They make a temporary camp and prepare some weapons. They prepare bows, arrows, spears, and some flammable mixture they plan on using to defend themselves against the slashers. During their conversation, Mira reveals that she was sent to prison for taking part in a rebellious movement before coming to Terra Nova. However, their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of the two slashers. Working together, they manage to repel a slasher with a tar-covered arrow shot by Mira, piercing its side. Taylor then throws a flaming spear into the same area of the dinosaur, causing that area of it to catch fire. Writhing in pain, the slasher retreats, and the other backs down and follows the first. Later, the pair agree that maybe they were allies in some parallel universe, and affirm that they could have been a hell of a team under different circumstances. The next day, they part, not as friends, but not quite the enemies they were, and return their separate ways, both wondering how this all will end. Back at the colony, Elizabeth informs Jim, and mark that the analysis of the blood sample wasn't completely vain, as the machine was able to complete enough of the analysis to determine that the blood belonged to a woman. So, this narrows the list of people as possible spies from 84 total people with access to the lab to just 47 females. In the meantime, Taylor returns to camp, asking Jim how he liked being a commander. Jim answers that he wouldn't want to do it every day. As Jim walks out of Taylor's office, Skye comes in to greet Taylor after his 24-hour quest in the jungle. They discuss going to the memorial field for Skye's parents' 3rd death anniversary. Taylor notices an odd look on Skye's face, but when asked if something is bothering her, she says no. Next, Taylor and Jim arrive at the terminus, the place where people arrive on Terra Nova from 2149. Since the 11th pilgrimage is only a few days away, Taylor wants to capture the spy before the pilgrims arrive. He puts the terminus on a 24-hour watch. Jim continues his investigation on the spy and interrogates all the suspects within the 47 female lists who had access to the infirmary. When it's Skye's turn, he questions her whereabouts when the Sixers made contact. She claims that she was playing chess with Josh at her house. Jim notices the cuts on Skye's hands. After the interview, Skye quickly finds Josh and asks him to confirm the lies she told his father. When asked why she had to lie, Skye claims she was simply out borrowing some copper tubing to make a new still for their alcohol. Josh is uncomfortable with the idea of lying to his father, but agrees since he doesn't believe Skye is the Sixer spy. Next, Skye steals a tape from a communication outpost, retrieves her gun from its hiding place, and goes to the Sixers camp to give the week's intel. After giving the intel, she runs to her sick mother. Skye is surprised to find Taylor's son, Lucas, who gave her mother a new blanket. Outside her mother's room, Lucas reveals that he has solved the problem of how to transport people from Terra Nova back to 2149. But there are still some final calculations to be made. Lucas could do them himself, but it would take weeks and the calculations could be done in the eye in a fraction of the time. He wants Skye to use the computing power in the eye to do this quickly, or he'll kill her mother. Back at Terra Nova, Jim learns that there is a possible security breach, a previously overlooked drainage ditch big enough for someone to traverse. Jim orders his team to put a security camera in the area. Then he asks Josh about Skye's chess story, and Josh covers for her. Meanwhile, Skye goes to the eye and inserts the data chip Luca gave her, and runs the formula's calculations. After the calculations are done, she brings the chip back to Lucas, who immediately plugs it in. As complex equations appear on his computer screen, Lucas tells Skye it worked, and that his father will get what he deserves. He further tells that he's hated his father ever since August 2138, and if Skye wants to know why, she should ask Taylor herself. Skye asks what will happen when the portal is reversed, and Lucas begins to seem increasingly threatening, explaining that his employers will take over Terra Nova, even if it means going to war. Back at the colony, Jim watches footage of Skye re-entering the colony through the drainage ditch. Taylor cannot believe it has been Skye all this time. Jim wants to double-check, so he confronts Josh, who admits lying for Skye. Meanwhile, Taylor wants Curran, the banished soldier who's now living with the Sixers, to confirm that Skye is the spy, but then he gets another idea. Taylor calls Skye to play chess with him. During the game, he mentions that he'll be leading a supply convoy through a canyon to Outpost 3. After Skye leaves, Taylor and Jim watch footage of Skye entering the drainage ditch. Taylor expects that the Sixers will attack the convoy, and he wants Jim to follow them, ready to counterattack. Next, they ready the ambush for the Sixers, but they never show. Jim theorizes that Skye is only giving them information that wouldn't harm the colony, and perhaps she's only working for them because they have some leverage on her. Back at the Sixers camp, Mira is angry that Skye didn't tell her about the convoy, to which Skye claims that she didn't know. Mira threatens to refuse to give Skye's mother medicine unless she provides better information. After seeing Skye, Lucas grabs her and tells her that he'll be returning to 2149. He also tells her that she shouldn't go back to the colony because his employers are coming from the portal, and they'll kill everyone who resists. He is overjoyed at the fact that Taylor will know his son has finally defeated him. After Lucas leaves, Skye tearfully confesses everything to her mother, who didn't know about the spying. However, she doesn't think she can continue it any longer now that she knows what the cost to Terra Nova will be. Skye's mother wants her to tell everything to Taylor and urges her daughter to not come back, as she's been sick for a long time and is now ready to die. After a teary-eyed embrace, Skye leaves her mother and runs off to Terra Nova. In the following scene, Jim and Taylor arrive at the outpost where Skye's been using to sneak to the Sixers camp. Just as they find the holster for her gun, Skye runs into them. They tell Skye they know she's the Sixer spy. Skye explains she did it all for her mother. Breathlessly, she also tells them about Lucas and his success in finishing the equation for reversing the portal. When Taylor asks why they should believe she ever talked to his son, she mentions Lucas talking about August 2138, a phrase that makes Taylor believe in her. Taylor sends Skye back to Terra Nova and he and Jim head to the terminus. Meanwhile, Lucas arrives at the terminus, using his computer to send a burst of energy to flatten the guards. Then Taylor and Jim arrive and order him away. Lucas warns that firing their rifles would only destroy the portal, cutting off Terra Nova from the future forever. When Taylor refuses to admit defeat and implores him to think of the innocent people in Terra Nova, Lucas scoffs at his father. Lucas tells him the next he sees Taylor, he won't be alone, and steps through the portal. With a flash of light, Lucas is gone. Back at the colony, Skye is called upon at the infirmary and learns that Curran, Taylor's man in the Sixers camp, brought her mother. Outside the infirmary, Jim mentions that he was surprised that Taylor was letting a murderer like Curran stay in camp. Taylor says that, unlike Curran, most people don't get a chance to atone for their mistakes. His own son won't let him. In August 2138, Lucas' mother died because he couldn't save her, and Lucas has never forgiven him. The episode ends with Taylor giving a speech about the forthcoming invasion, which he believes will happen when the 11th pilgrimage arrives. He encourages the residents to make a stand and fight for the second chance they have in Terra Nova. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel. Don't forget to watch part 5. Thanks for watching.